Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about the possibilities that whether China is planning to attack Taiwan, what is going to happen, that what will the global ramifications if China attack Taiwan, and what is the whole background of this whole China-Taiwan tussle. So we'll discuss that in whole detail. Also we'll try to understand about what will the implications of such incidents on the India. So first of all, the context in which we are discussing today's issue is because recently when the Quad Summit was going on in Tokyo, the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden, have given a statement. In the statement, as a response to this statement, the Beijing have responded to this in a very angry tone. So what was the statement? The statement was that Biden had suggested that any attempt by China to invade Taiwan would attract American military intervention. Responding to that, China's Ministry of External Affairs have also said that China will take firm action to safeguard its sovereignty and security interest, and also has warned the United States of America that they will do whatever they say. So basically, China believes that Taiwan is not a separate independent nation, but it is just a part and a renegade part of China, and that is why in future they wanted to bring Taiwan into its own fold and actually try to bring reunify Taiwan with the mainland China. So let us try to understand about the current crisis, that how the current crisis and why suddenly people started talking about China invading Taiwan. So first of that, it happened on the Chinese National Day last year on October 1st, that we can say 2021, when China flew over 100 fighter jets into the air defense and identification zone of Taiwan. This was the first time when people and experts all across, military experts all across the world started to talk about the real possibility of China attacking, invading Taiwan. Second push was given when Russia, who is strongly supported by China, invaded Ukraine, and then people started to talk that in similar manner China also can invade Taiwan to capture the territory, or we can say remove the legitimate government of Taiwan. So what has led to this kind of crisis and why China wants to invade Taiwan and to bring into its fold? So to understand that, first we have to understand about the history of Taiwan itself. So we can first, before understanding history, let us try to look at the geographical location of Taiwan. So Taiwan is an island country that is situated slightly about 100-150 kilometers off from the mainland China in what is called as East China Sea. Apart from that, it is closer to countries like Japan and South Korea, where it is situated to the south of these countries, and also it is closer to Philippines, and Taiwan is situated to the north of Philippines. South Korea, Japan and Philippines, all these three countries are believed to be strongly aligned with the American interest as far as the Pacific Ocean and the China Sea is concerned. Now, if we try to understand about the history of Taiwan, so history of Taiwan can be traced as far back as to October 10th, 1911. So what actually happened on October 10th, 1911? It was on this fateful day that there was a rebellion in the Manchu army, and this rebellion caused overthrow of Xuantong, also called as Hui, who was the last emperor of Qing dynasty, also called as Manchu dynasty. Due to the overthrow of Xuantong, it led to end of 4,000 years of monarchy in China. Following this, somewhere in the 1920s, the Chinese power or Chinese control went into the hand of Kuomintang party, who was headed by Dr. Sun Yat-sen. Now, if we try to understand the power tussle in China up to World War II, then largely it was governed by the interest of colonial empires like Netherlands, also called as Holland, Japan, as well as the domestic China. Then between 1945 to 1949, that means we can say after the end of Second World War, China was largely governed. However, it also took the consent of its allies while taking major decisions, for example, United Kingdom as well as United States of America. However, situations changed in 1949 when, due to the actions of Chiang Kai-shek, who was the leader and also we can say successor of Dr. Sun Yat-sen, and was leader of Kuomintang party, and due to his actions against the communists of his party, the civil war kind of situation broke out. The leader of Communist Party was Mao Zedong, And due to the civil war, the Communist Party finally gained a strong foothold and removed Kuomintang from the power throne of China. And as a result of this defeat, Chiang Kai-shek had to flee, and he then fled to the Taiwan, and there he ruled Taiwan in a form of or sort of dictatorship and declared Taiwan as a Republic of China. Actually, he declared whole China as a Republic of China, and he wanted to run a government in exile from Taiwan. Then since 1949 up to 2000, the country of Taiwan was basically ruled by Chiang Kai-shek and his successors in a kind of dictatorship manner. However, the first time in year 2000, Taiwan conducted free and fair democratic elections that led to election of Chen Shui-bian as a president of Taiwan. Now, this is what something that rankled the feathers of Chinese party and Chinese Communist Party in China, because Chen Shui-bian was very well known for his pro-independence policy, that he wanted to establish a Taiwan as a separate sovereign nation apart from China. Due to this, we have a rise of tension. However, the rise of tension is not just happened. That does not have just happened in year 2000. It has happened before also. So, what were the tension or main stress points in the history of China and Taiwan? So, first of all, it happened somewhere in year 1954 to 1958 when Chiang Kai-shek was exiled to Taiwan and Mao Zedong was ruling the mainland China, and he called it as a People's Republic of China. So, we have two countries. To remind you, one we have PRC governed by Communist Party, and other we have ROC, that is Republic of China, that is governed by Chiang Kai-shek as exile government in Taiwan. However, in between 1954 to 1958, PRC bombed large number of islands like Jinmen, Mazu and Dachen, who was the island which belonged to the Taiwan. Due to this bombing, United States supported strongly Taiwan and started supplying it with a defensive weapon. And to ensure that United States is able to help Taiwan in case of any further aggression by China, a Formosa resolution has been passed by the United States Congress. This Formosa resolution, Formosa actually was an old name of Taiwan itself. So Formosa resolution was basically passed to provide President Dwight D. Eisenhower with the whole power and facility to defend ROC territory if need arises. Then further between 1958 to 71, we have some more development that has happened. In Bandung conference that has happened in year 1954, Zhou Enlai, who was the then Chinese premier, he wanted negotiations to take place between United States and China to reach a settlement as far as the issue of Taiwan is concerned. However, at the same time, in year 1958, we have a civil war that broke out in Lebanon, and that is why United States got much more involved in the issue of Middle East, and Taiwan was somehow neglected. Then, in year 58, PRC, that is People's Republic of China, and ROC, that is the Republic of China, they they reached to a settlement where they decided that they will bomb each other's garrison on alternate days. And this arrangement continued until year 1971. After that, situations again become a kind of normal, where the military attack stopped. Then next stress point, or next we can say tension, started somewhere in the year 1995 to 1996, when China started to test its missile around the waters or around the seas of Taiwan. Due to the testing of missiles by China around Taiwan, it caused the biggest US mobilization in the history after the Vietnam War. And due to this aggressive stance of China, that also led to election of President Lee Teng-hui back in Taiwan, who was again a very pro-independent leader. This is Dwight D. Eisenhower that you can see in the picture. This is we can say Zhou Enlai, who was then Chinese premier when China started to attack the islands. And then we have the President Lee Teng-hui, who was elected as a president of Taiwan as a response of Chinese aggressiveness. So what future can be envisioned as far as China and Taiwan is concerned? So first we have to understand what is the standpoint of these two countries itself about their future. So as far as China is concerned, they believe in the policy of one country, two system, and they even offered this policy to Taiwan when the Hong Kong was left out by British. So one country, two system basically says that China will agree to Taiwan's political independence, that Taiwan will be able to freely conduct their domestic affairs as long as the Taiwan signs or Taiwan agrees with China that in future they will reunify with China. So basically it is simply a one country. China actually want to portray that China and Taiwan are basically a part of single country, but Taiwan is slightly more independent as far as the domestic affairs, the running of domestic affairs is concerned. And it is due to this reason that when the Taiwan elected president who was pro-independence, China passed a law that is called as anti-secession law, and it clearly says in this law that if any part of China, including Taiwan, wants to secede from China, then China will be compelled to allow to use even non-forceful methods to bring back the countries into its fold. Now, what does Taiwan say about this? Taiwan has clearly given an example of Beijing's recent crackdown on Hong Kong, and the Taiwanese president have clearly said that the one country two system does not work, as we have seen in the case of Hong Kong. And that is why the current political parties, at least from last 20 years, they believe that eventual goal of Taiwan is to get complete independence from China in the near future. So what is the situation at present? And what is the reason why Taiwanese leadership want to gain complete freedom from China? So the reason behind we can understood from the study that was done by National Chengchi University. The National Chengchi University studies found that if asked from the young generations of Taiwanese, 64% of people said that they are Taiwanese, not Chinese. Only 3% of people said that they are Chinese, the people who are in the Taiwan. So this strongly suggests that in last 70-80 years, the whole concept of belongingness with China has decreased, and now people are more identifying themselves with Taiwan, and that is why they want to have a separate country of Taiwan free from the intervention by China. The same as again another study was conducted by Taiwan Center for International Strategic Studies. Here they found that around 77%, even more of Taiwanese, they are willing to fight for the nation in case China invades Taiwan. So there is a growing feeling of nationalism as well as a very strong identity as far as the people of Taiwan is concerned, and that is why they want to have a separate state, and even they are willing to fight for it if a freedom is guaranteed. However, if you look at the world scale, very few countries are there which recognizes Taiwan as a separate country. Only 15 states maintain official diplomatic tie with Taiwan separately, and out of these 15 countries, most of them are small island countries. None of the big countries, we can say, maintain diplomatic tie with Taiwan separately. At the same time, if you look at the government, so no government in the world maintain formal ties with both Taiwan and China. Due to intervention of China, as also in China is, we can say People's Republic of China actually is seat holder in United Nations Security Council. The Taiwan also lacks a seat at United Nations, and thus has been excluded from large number of international institutions and partnership at the behest of Beijing. So that is the situation at present. Now question comes that what can be the situations or what can be the factors that can stop China from invading the Taiwan. So first issue is that if you look at the current premier Xi Jinping, he does not have any kind of domestic pressure from either its citizens or his party members to invade the China. That is why the political pressure is very, very less. Second is, if you look at the experts, many experts believe that Xi Jinping or China in general do not want to invade Taiwan, but they generally want to develop a process or start a process between China and Taiwan authorities, so that in the long term they can negotiate a settlement, so that for a long-term political relationship between both the countries can be established, and both countries and both parties can agree on a final conclusion. Apart from that, few people agree, or few people also say that since Russia has invaded Ukraine, that is why China will also invade Taiwan. So many experts also disagree on this. The reason behind that, because they say that if you look at the Russian military and Chinese military, both are very contrasting military powers. So why they are contrasting military power? Because Russia have a lot of experience where they have sent their military in different countries and have intervened in different international situations, for example, in Syria and other African countries. While at the same time, if you look at the Chinese military, they have not intervened since Vietnam War was fought in 1971. The third reason why China will be shy of invading Taiwan is because Chinese leadership clearly understand that as far as the relationship of United States of America and Taiwan is concerned, the countries enjoys ironclad relationship. And that is why in the event of China invading Taiwan, United States will come immediately to the aid and defense of Taiwan, and thus China will actually get engaged itself in a large war with the United States of America and its allies. The fourth reason what can prevent China from doing or venturing out in Taiwan is the economic backlash that it can face. Because if China invades Taiwan, which is a sovereign territory, independent territory, it will cause again a bout of sanctions at the international level, and also the lot of condemnation it will have to suffer. And at the same time, when China's economy is facing a very declining rate of growth or very stagnant rate of growth, China will try to avoid such situations while it is aspiring to become an economic superpower. So these are the few factors that can actually prevent China from attacking or invading Taiwan. However, let us suppose in worst case China invades Taiwan. What is a possible invasion scenario? So this has been given by military expert that China is preparing to have a 4-stage warfare strategies against Taiwan. In the first stage, China will attack Taiwan's mainland with missile and air strikes so that Taiwanese people and Taiwanese government can enter into a mode of submission. After this, they will involve in blockage operation where Taiwan will be blockaded by Navy of People's Liberation Army of China. And at the same time, they will also conduct cyber warfare so that the communication of Taiwanese government with the other countries also suffer and fails. Then after conducting these two operations, they can move to the third part of the operation where China will start attacking United States forces and bases stationed in the Pacific. Due to these attacks, United States of America will have to spend more and more time to reach for the help of Taiwanese. And in last stage, if China want to regain a complete control over the Taiwanese territory, they can start an amphibious attack against Taiwan. Amphibious attack means both land-based attack as well as sea-based attack will be conducted to overwhelm the Taiwanese military that has been left behind. So in this final phase of operation, it is believed that China will be able to completely take the control of Taiwanese government, and then further its final goal of reunification can be achieved. So what will be the ramifications of invasion if China ventures into Taiwan? So first ramifications will be seen at the economic scale on the global level, because Taiwan is one of the largest producer and manufacturers of semiconductor. This semiconductor chips has very wide uses. It is used in mobile handset, it is used in even automobiles, vehicles, and even in the military and defense sector. The semiconductor chips are very important component of large scale warfare system. So nearly 80% of semiconductor production, if China take control of Taiwan, will come under the control of China. And due to this, the US companies, like for example Apple, or US vehicle companies, German vehicle companies, as well as Department of Defense, they will all these will have to again renegotiate the settlement that how they will be able to supply semiconductor or how they will be able to import semiconductor from China. Now, if you look at the US dependency on semiconductor, as per a report published by Center for New American Security, it believes that US is already much more dependent on Chinese microchips than it was on the Middle Eastern oil in the past decades. So that is why the US will have to walk a very thin line as far as the relationship between China is concerned. Then other ramifications of invasion will be in the whole Asian geopolitics, especially with respect to two major countries, India and Japan. China has a tension or a border tension with both these countries, and China claims a large part of these countries as its own territory. So if China is able to or get away with the Taiwanese invasion, then further it can look beyond and can try to capture more and more territories, especially land territories from India and Japan. That will have a wider ramifications for the Asian security, and that can actually end this desire or this dream of Asia to become the next superpower, Asian giants to become the next superpower or economic superpower. The third ramification obviously will be in the political sense and military sense will be for United States of America, because the Chinese invasion, successful invasion of Taiwan at least, will potentially end the era of US military dominance in the world, and US will also risk losing its place as the global superpower, because it will fail to ensure that the freedom or we can say the sovereignty or integrity of a country is maintained. And the end of United States superpower status and corresponding guarantees of prosperity, freedom and human rights that have come with it will cause the end of US as a superpower. So what is United States doing to respond for these future threats? So first of all, as per the this statement given by Joe Biden has said that when last time he talked with Premier Xi Jinping in October 2021, both countries agreed that they'll abide by the Taiwan Agreement. What is Taiwan Agreement? So Taiwan Agreement was basically an agreement that was signed very early when US and China were trying to develop good relationship somewhere in the 70s and 80s under Richard Nixon. So at that time they said US agreed that they will support one China policy. That means they will agree that Taiwan actually is a part of China only if China differs from attacking or invading Taiwan militarily. And that is why they said that if US has said that if China attacks or invades Taiwan, then Taiwan agreement will collapse and the US will be forced to reply or to defend Taiwan militarily. Second, US is also trying to boost the military dominance in this Pacific region, in the Indo-Pacific region, by signing a pact such as AUKUS Pact. AUKUS is a group of 3 countries, that is Australia, United Kingdom and United States. And under this pact, the US and UK have agreed that Australian Navy will be supplied with nuclear submarine. So if Australian Navy is supplied with nuclear submarine, it will increase the posture, boost the military dominance of these 3 countries in the Pacific region. China have criticized AUKUS Pact and it has said that it endangers the security of the Indo-Pacific region. At the same time, on the economic and political front, US is trying to engage or increase its engagement with its Quad partners. Quad countries are US, then we have Japan, we have Australia, and then we have United Kingdom. And also they have, in military sense, they have shifted or they have pivoted to the Indo-Pacific region. Earlier, US military or US Navy was largely confined in the Atlantic Ocean, Transatlantic region, Middle Eastern region. Now they are pivoting to Indo-Pacific to thwart the growth, at least military growth of China. Now, obviously, the question comes that in this changing scenario, what should be the step that should be beneficial for India, or what should India do? So many experts suggest that as India is already having a tussle with China in the line, along the line of actual control, especially in the Ladakh region. So in the backdrop of this dispute, India should review its one China policy. As similar to United States of America, India also follows one China policy where it believes that Taiwan is actually a part of Taiwan. Both Taiwan and Tibet are actually part of China. However, experts suggest that India should try to review, and anyway, India has actually stopped strongly supporting the one China policy. At the same time, it is believed that India should try to build more stronger, more robust relationship with Taiwan so that a message can be sent to Beijing that if China wants to increase its adventurism toward Ladakh on line of actual control, India can also try to increase its role, try to strengthen this relationship both with the Tibet and Taiwan separately, apart from China. Then in May 2020, the political message is already being sent by the government of India. And for this, in May 2020, for the first time, when the swearing in ceremony of the president of Taiwan, Tsai, was going on, the 2 BJP ministers actually, member parliaments actually have attended the meeting virtually. So that is the first incident. Before also in May 2016, or in year 2016, when the swearing in ceremony was being conducted, the BJP members were invited, or we can say India's government was invited, but that time no one was sent there by the government. At the same time, since we have developed, Taiwan is the largest producer of semiconductor chips, so Indian government is planning to bring $7.5 billion worth of manufacturing, Taiwanese manufacturing plant in India. So these are the steps that government of India is taking, and also as you suggested, some steps, more strong steps can be taken to thwart the Chinese aggression as far as the LAC is concerned. So what we can say in conclusion after discussing all these issues is that since already Russia have invaded Ukraine and it has attacked a sovereign independent territory and has attacked the territorial integrity of a sovereign independent state, if China also invades Taiwan, the democratic world order that we have been used to living with since at least last 30-40 years would be at risk of falling into the clutches of authoritarianism. That means we'll see to a large extent the end of democracy, or at least the end of the capability of United States of America and its allies to enforce democratic world order, and it will go into the clutches of authoritarian rulers, for example Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping of China. So that is all about these issues. I hope you understood about this whole concept very well. Thank you very much.